Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. I'm Beth Genly, your host for this segment, and this year I'm also president of Toastmasters for Speaking Professionals. We meet at noon on Tuesdays, and we'd love to have you come visit. Today, I am very proud and very pleased to have a special guest with me, artist and programmer, and my beloved daughter, Kim Genly. Kim, welcome to my show.
Thank you so much. I'm very pleased to be here.
Kim, I invited you here today because you wrote a program called Line of Action, which I think a lot of people would really enjoy knowing about. Can you tell us why you created Line of Action and certainly what it is?
Sure. About a decade ago, I graduated from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, where I studied visual and critical studies. And while I was there, several times a week, I had access to about 6 hours of live nude figure models and wonderful teachers who taught me how to draw beautiful paintings and drawings based on the poses that those models were striking several times a week. And when I graduated, suddenly I no longer had access to live figure models. It was the strangest thing. There just aren't people standing around for hours at a time in the buff waiting for you to draw them in the real world.
Really?
I know, it's shocking. So I decided I wanted to keep in practice, and since I couldn't find that anymore outside of college, I was going to write a program that sort of simulated that experience. So I went online and I found images that closely mirrored the types of poses that I would have seen in the academic setting. And I wrote a program that would advance you through those images in random order using the lengths of time that they have you do in a college drawing class. And that would be 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, on and up until you're doing a pose of 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long a class you're doing. And that specific sequence is designed to train you to see the figure in a very specific way. So I had tried using existing slideshow apps, or they were just called applications at the time. We weren't doing apps so much then. And it just wasn't the same. There was a lot of stopping and shuffling and using egg timers to try and get the timing correct. And I realized that this was a problem I could solve. So 1 month, our family was going to the coast, and I wasn't going to be able to bring my computer, but I was going to have an access to computer there. So I decided, I'll put it online. I can access it from there. And I told a few friends about it, and then we went on vacation, and we came back, and I had a bandwidth bill you would not believe, because it turned out about 10,000 people had found the site over that week.
Yeah, I never knew this. That's amazing. 10,000.
Yeah. I told some friends, and they told some friends, and they told some friends, and it got posted to some forums, and boy, they just started using it like gangbusters. So cool. At that point I realized, okay, apparently this is going to be a thing. There's a demand for this. So I went back and I cleaned it up a little bit, and I pulled all the photos that I had out of it and went and spoke very specifically to photographers to find ones that wanted to volunteer their photos, because I didn't want to step on anyone's copyright if this was going to be more than just my personal educational use. And it's just been growing like crazy from there.
I understand it's gotten pretty popular. Tell us some of the numbers that you're looking at this point.
We have about 32,000 people a week for sure using it. Sometimes those numbers grow to closer to 40,000 a week, depending. I know that several dozen universities around the world now include it as part of their official drawing curriculum. I hear from students whose professors require them to use the site to fill a complete book of sketches. They're just expected to use it every day. So it's gotten extremely popular. I never imagined it when I built this little slideshow app.
That is very cool. And I understand you've also gotten communications from people in other countries saying that it fills a need there too.
Yeah. I've had some really touching messages over the years, not just from people saying, I'm in a very rural area, so I would never be able to find a class like this if it weren't online, but I've also heard from people who say that in their countries, attending a class with a live nude model could mean imprisonment or worse for them. So the site has apparently been the method of training for artists who it sounds like they're risking their lives to learn how to become an artist, and that's That's pretty incredible.
Wow,
to
that
me.
kind of gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, there was a while back, I think it was Iran that had ISPs that were blocking the site, and we ended up having to change some of the wording on the site. For example, when you select what gender of model you wanted to draw, the drop-down said select sex, and we had to change that to gender because the word sex was just shutting it down for the whole country. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I've gone on the site. Well, I have a couple questions, actually. One is that I understand that the popularity has created some challenges for the site. Ooh, okay, what?
So there's the normal challenges in that, you know, I built it for my own personal use all those years ago, and over the years we've had to do a number of changes and upgrades to try and keep up with the number of people who are using it. You know, the original code and server were really just not up to the task. But then there's been some non-standard challenges. We've received a really higher than average number of denial of service attacks and hacking attempts by groups who have identified themselves to me as doing it specifically because they believe it's immoral for anyone to have access to nude models anywhere in the world. So there have been some scary moments even when we thought the site was going to be brought offline because of those hacking attempts, but we've made it through.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're rewriting it. You have rewritten it from
Yes.
scratch. And, you know, I'm surprised that you did that given that it was so popular, although certainly protecting from hacking attempts has to be one reason.
Yes, that was absolutely one reason, as I wanted to increase the overall security of the site. Although it had been some years since I had gotten the last threat, it just felt like it's a matter of time before it happens again. And I certainly want to protect it and keep it up for the thousands and thousands and thousands of artists who are using it for so many years all over the world. But more than that, it had just gotten from those original 10,000 people in a month to now 32,000 people a week at our low points. It just was never built for that. So it needed more attention. People had been using it for years at a time, and we just weren't able to take enough photographs. So if you use the site for half an hour every day for years, and we only have a few hundred photographs available for you, you're going to get really bored of the poses that we had. So I also rebuilt it to include some premium features. The site had been absolutely 100% free for years, and everything that was up in that time is remaining 100% free, but we're adding a few new features like it's no longer just a slideshow. It includes some in-class guidance tips, the types of things you would hear from university professors that certainly I heard from university professors. And I wanted to give the site a way to fund itself and its continued progression. I didn't want it to continue remaining static. I wanted it to have a way to hold its own photo shoots as many times a year as we can so that we can keep replenishing those poses and keep the practice fresh for all of these artists. And I wanted the site to have a basis to support itself as it continues to grow so that we can keep it open for many more thousands of artists through the years. And I wanted to make sure that it was going to remain stable and able to cope with the demand, because if we have 32,000 people a week now, what happens when it's 60,000 or 100,000 a week? And it just needs to be able to keep up with that. I think given the type of response it's gotten over the years and the types of people I've heard from, it's an important resource, and I want it to stay up for many years to come.
Wow, the mind kind of boggles. We just have a couple minutes left, Kim, and I wanted to know, first of all, why 30 seconds? And if you have any advice quickly for people who are very new to drawing.
Okay, as quickly as I can. This is a really common question, and I'm really glad you asked it. One of the most common mistakes that artists make when they're getting started is they'll look at a scene and they'll go, oh, that expression or that hand pose, that's what makes this really beautiful. And they will draw a beautiful expression and a beautiful hand pose. But at the end, oh no, that head is too big for that beautiful hand and the torso is too far to the left, and you've already gone in and you've detailed these things and they're perfect and beautiful, it would be really painful to erase one. You kind of have to start over. So this is a very common problem. So 30 seconds is supposed to train your brain not to see the details, but to start with the big overarching gesture. We call it the line of action. So if in those 30 seconds all you get down is one line, you've succeeded. That is the point of the exercise. And if you still have time after that one line, you can draw the 3 movable masses, which are the head, the rib cage, and the hips. And if you've gotten that in your 30 seconds, you have completed the exercise. Congratulations, you are a success.
Beautiful. That's pretty exciting. There's a lot to it. And I understand there's also pictures of animals on this site as well.
That's right. So we started with just pure figure study for human models, and over time we have added all types of animals. We have added one for the common problem areas, which are faces and expressions and hands and feet that many artists struggle with very hard. And I hope by the time this interview goes live, we should have a interior and exterior environments training tool, at least out in beta.
This sounds like an extraordinary set of resources for artists around the world. So y'all can see why I am as proud as I could possibly be of this girl.
Thank you.
And given that, I want to thank you all for being here and recommend that you go to lineofaction.com. I didn't ask you, but I happen to know.
line-of-action.com.
Yes, the hyphens are important. Without that, you pretty much can't find it.
Yes.
So welcome to this segment, and I hope to see you back again for my next segment. This is Beth Genly with TV Toastmasters.
Welcome back to our show. I'm Erik Bergman. I'm a member of TV Toastmasters and We Toasted Toastmasters. And I'm here tonight with someone that you need to know if you're looking for a job or if you know someone who needs help on their job search. My guest tonight is a longtime veteran mentor of those seeking a job. And let's get to know him right now. Here's Larry Bowman.
Thanks, Erik.
Larry, welcome tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate being here.
Tell us about your organization, which is Job Seekers, part of Lake Grove Presbyterian.
Right. Well, it's a program that was started many years ago with the idea that we're going to help a few people in our church find jobs or change careers. And as we've grown and the economy's changed, we've continued to look for mentors, one-on-one people that can work with the job seeker. And that's how it's grown. But in the beginning, we just used people in the congregation for whatever support we needed. So.
And you've been doing this since 1995, but the program took a big boost in around 2008 when the economy was in such bad shape.
Right.
And it's really grown since then.
Well,
Tell us where
grown.
you are now.
Yeah. Well, we're at a point where we work with about 200 job seekers at a time, and we break that down. There are different levels. We have a meeting on every Monday, unless it's a holiday. We have somewhere around 70, 60, 75 people show up. We have presenters who will take up the whole time and interact with the job seekers about different topics. And then we have others where we'll do a partial presentation on particular skills that the job seekers need. And then we'll have breakout sessions where we can discuss that with them in the breakout sessions.
Great. Now we should say that this is a free service and you don't have to be a member of the church to be in it. You just have to be dedicated to being a job seeker.
Right.
Or one of the mentors who helps these people find their jobs, helps them find their path. So what types of actual things happen during that 2-hour meeting every Monday morning?
Well, we have an opening, and if we have any job seekers who have found jobs, we have them come and give lessons learned. What were the three to five most important lessons you learned in the job search process that helped you get the job that you have? And they're able to share that with the other job seekers, which helps them. And so, and that's where the recognition comes in, and that's where the mentors get really proud. we've been able to work with them and help them there. So I think that's one of the key things. We do try to do a little humor to get people laughing a little bit on Monday morning, and because that's their first day of their work week. So.
And now this is a free service, but it doesn't come without some obligation on the part of the job seeker. I've seen the checklist of the expectations of what the job seekers are supposed to do, and it includes everything from drafting a cover letter to setting up a LinkedIn page to participating in mock interviews. This is all very disciplined approach.
Yeah, it is, but it's like anything else. You have to develop the skills to do the job you need done. And our job is that we want to help the job seeker help themselves find a job. So we take them through all that process, all of the skills that they need, and we do it in a variety of ways. First, an outside speaker, and then with mentors presenting particular topics and discussing those. I think the real key is that they understand that we help them help themselves find a job. We don't find a job for them. And
Right.
so the mentors are really committed to that because they have to do all the homework themselves in order to be able to help and teach the job seeker.
You've mentioned the importance of mentors. What is it that you look for in someone who would make a good mentor within your group?
I think one of the first things is, are they willing to listen? Good listening skills are the key to find out what the job seeker is looking for. And so once they can find that, then you ask some questions where you can really understand what they want. And part of that is just asking the right questions and shutting up.
Right, so getting out of your own way, and rather than listening so that you can interject your opinion, really thinking about what that person has said and what their path is and where they need their guidance.
Right.
What are some of the rewards of the mentoring experience for you? Because you've been doing this a long time now.
Well, I think getting to know different people. We build friendships along the way with both the mentors, the job seekers, and you see somebody 10 years later and they're still working, you get excited about that. I think it's the same rewards that I felt when I was teaching school. I taught for 32 years, and I look forward to going there every day, and that's the way I feel about the job seekers group. It's an opportunity to go there and have a good time, but to make a difference in somebody's life.
Do the mentors, beyond listening skills, need any other special skills, or are the things that you will teach them to do?
Well, we have them go through all the different skills that we require of the job seeker. So,
Yes.
But so they have to be able to show that. They have to write a resume in our format. They have to do background information. They have to figure out what it means to communicate. How do we communicate with different communication styles? And that's always interesting. Because we've learned to do it one way. How do we do it so that figuring out if you're a driver or expressive or whatever, how do I communicate with you? And that goes along with us communicating with them and teaching them how to do that.
In this environment where the economy is booming and unemployment for the moment is very low, why do we still need job seekers groups? Doesn't everybody have a job?
It'd be nice if they did,
Yeah.
but I think the key thing is some of them don't have a job because they think they have to do exactly what they did before.
Yeah.
And jobs have changed, technology has changed, the way we do the jobs have changed. So part of that is helping them understand that. And what we're finding out is a lot of companies hire you if they find out that you fit into their culture, not that you so much have the skills, because they can teach you the skills. But do you fit in? Do you fit in the culture? Do you fit in the way they do the business? Do you fit in with their mission statement? And everything? And so that's really becoming a key area.
Are there certain groups that have more trouble than others in getting hired these days, such as people maybe over age 50 or people just out of college? What are some of the issues that those different groups face?
Well, I obviously, you get a little older, companies don't think you can do the job, you don't have the energy and so forth, and so sometimes you become overly qualified. But we find that if we can work with them and if they're really serious about growing and getting better, then they have to have some energy, they have to have some enthusiasm, they have to have some new skills, and they have to convey that to the people they're talking to, that they're interviewing with. So, those coming out of college, a lot of times they just think they're going to step out of college and get a job. So that's the key thing. So
they maybe think that the path to riches is going to be short and fast, and they'll be making a lot of money right away. Well, probably not the case. How do you temper the expectations of somebody who's maybe not quite in sync with the reality of the workplace?
Well, I think the first thing you ask them is, what do you look for? What do you believe about a job? And then they can tell you, well, I just think you come out and you start doing what you want to do and you make lots of money. You say, well, that would be nice if it were true, but it's not true. And so you begin to talk to them. And what I try to do is to give them questions that they have to look at and answer. If I said, well, what's your goal? What do you want to accomplish, on the job? What do you want to accomplish with your life? And as you reflect that to me and we talk about that, we can say, where are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? Are you looking to make a lot of money, or are you looking to make a big difference? Mm-hmm. And I think that's really key. So once we can help them do that, then they begin to understand it.
So once again, anyone can come join your job seekers group. It meets every Monday, and Monday mornings. That's 8:30 to 10:30, correct?
Correct.
Lake Grove Presbyterian. And they'll have 2 hours of engagement with outside experts, with mentors, with people who've had success through the job search. And they'll be matched up with a mentor, correct?
Correct, yes.
Everyone works one-on-one?
One-on-one, yeah.
What's the benefit of that one-on-one?
Well, I think building trust. When you're working with somebody that they don't know you and you don't know them, you have to begin to build some rapport and some trust so that they'll really begin to tell you what, who they are and what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. And then we have to be able to do that with them as well. So one-on-one mentoring seems to be the best way.
How do you advise someone to go about their job search? Where do they start?
Well, I think they start by writing down, what it is they want to do, mm-hmm. and what skills do they need to do that. We have them do an exercise that, what are the 5 things you want in a work environment?
Yes.
And then why do you want those? And then what are the 5 things you definitely don't want in the work environment, and why not? And then you say, what kind of jobs are you looking for in that environment? Mm-hmm. And so they have to go with that, and then they have to begin to build some things into that. And that helps them with their resume that they're writing, because we look at what skills they have.
So where do people find out more information about job seekers?
Well, they can look at the website, lakegrovepress.org, and then go to missions, and that'll have the information about our program and how to contact us and how to make sure they know how to get to the church and things from there. And so throughout the week, we'll get calls from different people who've been there, looked at it, called up and asked about it, and show up on Mondays.
And the same for the mentors, too. They could make connection through
Sure.
the website to offer their skills. Certainly, and Larry, you're certainly a role model for how someone can, after their career, continue on helping people, building their communication skills, their confidence, and all that goes into a successful job search. So I really appreciate your visiting us and telling us about Lake Grove Presbyterian job seekers. I wish you the best of luck. And thank you for being with us. My name's Erik Bergman. I look to see you next time.